Good afternoon, Mr. Spina. Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today.
Well, thanks for having me, Carolyn. I appreciate it.
My name is Carolyn, as I said earlier, and I am a graduate student at Southeastern University in the social work department. And I live in Lakeland with my family, and we've lived here for over 20 years now.
Wow.
And I understand that you are also local.
I am. I also live in Lakeland. Yes, I do.
Okay, wonderful. I believe I met you last year. We were at a Kiwanis Club meeting, and at that meeting, you were just discussing some challenges that you were having with the Senate Bill number, I think it was 52.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember meeting you there. Yes, I do remember that. So,
Mhm.
and I was at the time having some challenges, but I think all those things worked out now.
Yes, they sure did. So, and congratulations on that because
Thank you.
that was amazing that you were successful in getting that bill passed. That was great work for the people of Florida. So I really
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
that's
much.
awesome. So I'm here today to tell you about another bill. It's Senate Bill number 68. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's the Social Work Licensure Compact. And just a little bit about that, it allows qualified social workers to obtain a multi-state license. And there are many, many benefits to that, which I'm actually going to leave you with a fact sheet so
Okay.
that you can look over that yourself in your own time, in your spare time, like I'm sure you have any. But anyway, but really what I want to emphasize today is the fact that there is a great improved access, to quality social workers that the compact will provide to the general public. And so in doing that, I just would like to share with you a personal story of mine, if that's okay with you.
Sure, please do.
So a few years ago, my husband was actually doing a bicycle fundraiser ride from Florida to Wisconsin.
Wow.
It was quite a long ride, and he was riding. This is a bicycle now, not a motorcycle.
Oh, wow.
And he was riding about 100 miles a day. And on the last day, he was riding in the morning, and a car ran a stop sign and hit him, going about 45 miles per hour.
That's
Yeah, it was pretty scary. So I got the call, and I was actually fortunate enough to be on the road with him. I wasn't at the accident site, but I was in the support vehicle. So anyway, I got the call and wound up at the hospital. They actually had to life flight him. It was pretty extensive.
wow. Oh my goodness, that
Yeah,
must have been something traumatic for you.
it was very traumatic. And but when I arrived at the hospital, they put me kind of in a little waiting room, and they told me just to wait there for a few minutes. And the first person that came to greet me at the hospital was a social worker,
Okay.
and that the woman there, she was very nice, and she was walking me to the trauma unit where my husband was, and she explained to me a little bit about what was going on, what was happening, and things with him at that time. And so she took me to the room. She helped me to feel really comfortable and get settled in there. And, she asked me, did I have any questions and stuff? And then um, she left me there. But a little while later, she came back and she offered me a sandwich and something to drink, and I was just there. My husband was in and out of consciousness during that time, and having some testing done and just a lot of different things. And so I really appreciated that because, I obviously hadn't had time to eat or anything like that, but she took the time to care for me,
Wow.
just as a person. And then later that evening, obviously they were going to keep him overnight because he had bleeding in his brain,
Oh my goodness.
and they thought he had some fractures in his neck at the time, and so they wanted to keep him overnight and all that stuff. Um, so I was gonna have to stay there. I didn't have a place to stay, and the social worker again reached out to me, and she was able to get me into a hotel and get me a discounted rate, which I really appreciated. And the good news is that my husband walked out of there, out of
Oh,
that
wow.
hospital the next day.
I was gonna ask how he was doing, but that's good to hear.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So that was a miracle in and of itself. But really, I don't know what I would have done that day, in the confused state and everything that I was in, if it hadn't been for that social worker. And so that I really appreciated her, and so there, I really want to make sure that those services are available to others that might be in similar circumstances.
Sure, sure. That's understandable. When we think of social work, oftentimes we don't think of things like that. We think of maybe someone helping in the community, maybe
Right.
maybe sometimes some sort of visitation to people's houses and things.
Mhm.
But to hear that story is an amazing story. That really shows that social workers are reaching a lot more people than we realize.
Right, absolutely. And so this bill, Senate Bill 68, would make it much easier for people in the communities to have access to social workers. Like maybe if they're on the boundary between two states, and one of the states is a little bit more rural, as long as those two states have the compact, then the social worker can go between those two different states.
I see.
And so it's a really awesome bill. I'd love for you to support us and vote yes when it's time to vote on Senate Bill number 68. But I'll leave you with this fact sheet here, and if you have any more questions, the information down here at the bottom for the National Association of Social Workers in the Florida chapter
Okay.
is down here, the contact information. And they have a lot of really great resources there if you're interested in looking up any additional information about social workers and what they
Okay.
do and how they might be able to help some of your other constituents in the state of Florida. But I'd like to say thank you again for having me.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.